container. Before, the bigger one, it was the size of a good 3x3 box. But now this one just fits into a water filter. We have one on the orbiter, so we can clean and recycle our water, so we can reuse it. Cell phones. Now we every single day. I'm sure most of you have one of these in your pocket. Turn it off so your teacher doesn't know you have it. But anyways, and they have some improved on from the use of pictures. Had our for use on the rockets. So as those technologies were developed, the cameras were very large, and they were mounted outside on the space shuttles. And then as technology had been improved, they made them smaller and smaller. And then as of modern day, we have them small enough that we actually have them on our persons, and we can carry with us every single day and take pictures and video and send them across the world from point A to point B, and stay in touch with our family and friends. Another technology developed at NASA is the ear thermometer. Now, the ear thermometer is commonly used in doctors' offices, and it was used to be a portable temperature gauge on the space shuttle. Now, they needed something that was convenient, so they had developed a thermometer, which is this thermometer, and in order to measure an astronaut's temperature, because it's important to make sure that the astronauts are as healthy as possible when they're on the orbiter as they continue through their space flight. Now, one of my favorite inventions that came from NASA, because I have one of these at my house, and maybe some of you do, is the memory foam. Now, this type of foam was developed to help with the cushioning in the seats that are in the flight deck of the orbiter. Now, during space flight, there is a lot of gravitational force that the astronauts are being subjected to as we're going through the atmosphere to get into orbit. And during that time, the seats that were made originally were not very comfortable, and on top of having several layers of protective gear that the astronauts were wearing, they needed to develop something that would help cushion the force, because they are subjected up to about 4 Gs of force. And 4 Gs is if you are at the very high top of the biggest roller coaster in the world and you're going straight down, and you will feel how your skin feels back, takes your breath away. That's what the astronauts go through when they are launching out from for a mission. So memory foam was developed for the seats. Then, as technologies had continued through the years, it was able to be marketed into the mainstream, so now we can actually get memory foam pillows, we can get memory foam mattresses, and even our dogs and cats can actually get memory foam beds now. Now, one of my favorite things, and I actually have this up here because our MREs for our food is the freeze-dried food, because taking food up into space has always been a challenge at the beginning, because they needed to see, what items could last up in space for a long period of time during a mission. So freeze-dried food was developed, and things like ice cream that has been frozen at a high temperature to take out all the moisture. Basically, the ice cream can be eaten just as is, but it's a lot of flavor. And then we have things like beef stroganoff that all you have to do is add water, which we're glad to have our recycled water, through our water filter, that we can have a fresh meal. All we have to do is heat the water and put it into our MRE, and we have a full dinner. Because before, they used to put our food into tubes, and they didn't have much flavor. They really didn't have a lot of variety, and if astronaut was on a mission for more than a week, if they were eating the same 7 days in a row for 3 meals in a row, it did get to be a little mundane. So to be able to have a variety of foods that they could take with them on the space shuttle. But I will tell you one thing, that orange juice was something that they weren't able to take because with the way the atmosphere packing liquids and other flavors, so astronauts could have a variety of things to drink beyond just drinking water. Going back to where using our cameras and being able to use our cell phones to call people around the world, you have to think about the development of technology and communications. Long ago and far away, the only way that you could communicate with somebody is if you had a conversation or you wrote it down into a letter and it was delivered either by person or by letter. Then as technologies were developed, we had the Pony Express that was developed, we had railroads, and then we developed telephone wires, and as we got even into the mid-60s, the telephones became more complex, and you had rotary dial and then it developed into push buttons and digital, and then from there, the cell phone was developed. Now, when using cell phones, you have to have satellite communication in order for a signal to be able to be transmitted from one point to the other. So one thing that NASA developed was long-distance communication satellites. It was originally so that when we had the orbiters up in the sky, that they could transmit back down to mission control, and that's how we communicate with mission control. But the technology now is used in everyday life with our cell phones, so you can call around the world. One area of technology that was applied based on NASA was firefighting gear. Now, unfortunately, back when Apollo 1 was set to go on mission, they had a tragedy where, unfortunately, the 3 astronauts that were set to go on mission had died tragically in a fire. But because of the tragedy, there was actually some technologies that were developed outside of the tragedy and be more insulated wear that astronauts could wear to protect themselves in case there was a fire on the orbiter. But it also transferred for our firefighters, who nowadays have very protective gear. Their helmets, their hats, their jackets and pants can hold up to very high heat. So if they need to go into a fire to rescue somebody, or if they are in a situation where the fire is very hot and they need to get out, that their clothing will be able to protect them more so. And speaking of being safe at home and hoping that the fire department does not have to come to your home, one technology that was developed was smoke detectors. Now, smoke detectors are something that everyone should have in their homes and should be tested every 6 months on the batteries to make sure they are working, and if not, you might want to contact your local fire department to see if they have a working fire smoke detector. We do have smoke detectors here on the orbiter, just in case that there is anything that might malfunction that would create smoke or fire on board, because if anything does go awry, we do need to be able to be alerted in a timely manner, because we are a little far from home right now, and the fire department really cannot manage to get up to us, so we need to be able to be signaled immediately. So the smoke detectors that we have now in our homes were actually ones that were developed and originally used within spaceflight. Now, there are a few things that people think that actually came from space invention, were not invented by space invention at all. And one of the biggest myths is the development of some people's favorite drink, and that would be Tang. Now, many people had said that Tang was developed for astronauts to drink on flight. That is not true. Tang was not invented for astronauts. Tang was actually invented just for the adding of flavor to water as an enjoyment beverage. And then another thing that people think that was invented by NASA, which we use a lot in the orbiter, is the use of Velcro. Velcro was not developed by NASA. This is an invention that was created that was created for attaching items so they would not fall or drop. But NASA uses it a lot because we cannot have items floating around the orbiter when we are lacking gravity. Right now, we actually have a special device that we turn on to keep, so we have our gravity right now, or else things would be. So we are able to go about our mission without having bumping into each other. But next time you see Velcro or you see Tang, this is not developed from NASA. It was developed by other means. But if you go home and you have a water filter at your house, say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, guess what? They used to have those, and they use those on the orbiter in space. And if you want to be adventuresome, you can actually go get your own MRE ice cream. These are sold locally at stores now. You don't have to be a special NASA astronaut to get a freeze-dried packaged ice cream treat. You can buy these at any sporting goods store. So if you are venturesome, I'd like for you to try these technologies. And of course, as you go about your day and you're using your cell phone or you're sharing, use your phone, log into our YouTube channel. If you're watching through our YouTube channel, tell your friends to go log into the YouTube channel, because we're going to be here all night long. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you had a wonderful day at Russell, and we are looking forward to our landing when we get home tomorrow, and we will see you also again when we have our primary lesson at 9:15 in the morning. Oh, okay. One more special announcement.
Well, Miss Steiner has been on multiple STS trips, and this is her 200th hour. This mission, she will pass over 200 hours in Intrepid. So we were going to celebrate and have a special cake for her if it's 200 hours. Everybody to clap for Miss Steiner. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Miss Steiner. For all the space team members. We love you.
Thank you so much, boys and girls. This is a wonderful surprise, and I have just always enjoyed being involved in the Russell Space Program, and I'm planning on continuing to be involved for many years to come, and this is just a great honor, and I really am enjoying the time that I spend with my STS space flight folks and that. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys again in the morning.
Awesome job, Miss Steiner.